Hello and welcome. This is your GM in the Great Barrier broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. We are back again tonight with Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword, Episode 2, Part 3. Uh, I will give a quick mention for those that have been waiting for a little bit to see another adventure of Star Trek Adventures Aegis. I assure you, it is coming. We've just had some scheduling difficulties, some of those on the GM's end that have made things a little difficult to run there. But we should be good and set for this weekend. So, for those of you that are catching it on the archive, you'll probably be hearing all this on Sunday, and that'll hopefully be its own good thing. For the rest of you, you can join us this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe that's 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and close to 10 a.m. Pacific. So I have to know this because we have players spanning all of those time zones. It is a headache, but it's one I am happy to manage because we have such a good cast of players. Speaking of good cast of players, we are back tonight with our full crew, um, and we are going to pick up from where we left off, which at last check the Jan had landed on a just barely habitable world, what would be um, a Class L by Starfleet reckoning. They had needed to do so because when they first arrived in the giant gaseous anomaly Klacht Kelbracht, formerly under Captain Kalvek's command, they discovered that not only were they carrying Kusha, the Klingons more of the TOS time frame, who lack the distinctive cranial ridges, but that Kalvek intended to sell off these Klingons, and as Tabak challenged Kalvek for command and fought to the death. On the outside, the trade deal that they were going to have, their rendezvous with an Orion cruiser, was interrupted by an Imperial squadron that arrived without any marking or use of their transponders. Leon was able to escape, and Tabak, with the help of the crew, was able to kill Kalvek. However, they took significant damage on the escape and were thus forced to find this planet. Uh, while they have succeeded, they have considerable work to do in terms of repairing numerous breaches that have been done to their ship, a couple of which they will be able to do away with properly, but it is sort of across the spectrum with weapons, engines, most especially structure, all suffering from some degree of system damage. As the repairs have gone forward, however, the crew is finding itself increasingly dealing with ghosts of their past, perhaps, in a sense, would be a way to say it. Uh, Many have seen memories of points in their past, several not entirely pleasant, and others just making them slightly wistful of what happens, or what's happened in the past. But it's come to the attention of the crew, and they've all communicated on this. With regard to tackling the main threat of whatever is causing these hallucinations, Kresic, the ship's surgeon, together with Woe, a very competent warrior in her own right, and the ship's other engineer, Raldar, have gone to sickbay in order to uncover the specific means behind this, all the while isolated from Mr. Korg, who seems to have met a difficult fate in the cargo bay, and Tabak, who is forced to wander the ship alone, in this case from the bridge. But from our very last point of leaving off, we followed one such hallucination, or so we should believe, where Woe supposedly, when entering sickbay, instead encountered a very different setting, one with a human doctor who placed her in a bay for some sort of experimentation, and when she came to from that, it seemed as though the Yan were about to fly off without her. So let's pick up from there. The ship has the ship's thrusters have fired off. The Raptor has moved off into the upper atmosphere and has rapidly shrunk away. Well, once again, you find yourself on your own. Until, at least...
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
Oh. I was gonna say, can I roll for an insight check?
I
Because
I
I
know
know I'm
exactly where you're
hallucinating.
going, and I will say yes, you may. Let's call this insight, and I think either command or science would be appropriate in terms of the discipline here.
Roll 20 is not working for me.
Oh no.
Oh,
Here, I can
oh,
assist you
oh,
with it.
oh.
You have
Let
it
me
back?
see. I think it came up. Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Now, do you say
spectacular.
insight and command?
That would work. If science were any better, then I would say you could use that. I don't imagine it is, though.
Probably not. I think that's my weakest point. Also, it's still not loading.
Oh dear. Would you like me,
Very.
would you like for me to roll for you in this instance?
Yeah. Yes, please. I
Okay.
can't get it to work.
All right. So let me give it a roll here.
What's the
And
difficulty?
I will set this, given that I'm presuming this is an instinctive outreach that you're going for with a very particular sense, and just given the nature of the current hallucinations, I will set the difficulty on this to 2.
Okay.
So, would you like? There is some momentum left over from last session. Would you like to use one for the purpose of the roll?
I'm okay if she does.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
All right. Raldar, if you'd go ahead and drop 2, one of those being since it's been between sessions.
Yeah,
All right.
you'll
So,
take 2 of my monies.
yes. 2 monies, please. And that is indeed 2 successes. Whoa,
Yeah.
in in spite of what your eyes tell you, in spite of what every sense you would feel have, or the planet is indeed it. The air is just as you remembered breathing it when you were atop the Raptor's wing, tending repairs to the hull, and playfully sparring with Raldar. Um, the air is as cool and as sort of lacking in scent, truly, from the night that you remember it. The feel of the air is as much as you remember on your fur from before that point, and every sense that you could immediately think to define is telling you that this is real, but you know that people are here with you, that this cannot possibly be, and the voice in your head telling you that this is just as likely as vivid as what you previously dealt with, does indeed suggest that there's something more to this. And I think with that success, that would actually break you out of what you're experiencing and allow you to
Okay.
come to in sickbay.
I kind of shake my head and retch, I'm assuming, because it was pretty, oh, just it's too much. Sorry, I can't think of words right now. Sorry.
It brought up a lot of feelings.
It brought up a lot of feelings, so I just and I go to sit down and say, Krizik, scan me, please. I just came back from one.
Yes. So I actually did know that because you started saying random things last session, which is where that amazing 6 roll came from last session. So yes, I'm going to scan. I've been scanning this whole time, actually.
Yes, yes.
A large part of me wanted to try to snap her out of it, but I needed the data. So instead of snapping her out, I've just been getting everything.
Yeah.
Why did you slap me? That was horrifying. It's truly traumatic. You fucker.
Do you want it to get
wipe
worse?
The tears out of my eyes.
Do you want it to get worse? Do you want the whole crew to become like this?
I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Find it. Figure out how to make it stop. I don't want another moment of that.
That is the goal. All right. So, scan. What did my scans find you find?
So from last time, you did discover that there was a sort of critical mass in terms of essentially a buildup of some sort of organic compound that's in Woe's bloodstream presently.
Yes.
It seems that when it builds to a certain mass, it can exert a sort of neurochemical influence that triggers that can essentially affect parts of the brain and nervous system, thus creating the sense of a very vivid sort of hallucination.
All right. She managed to break herself out of it. Did that lead to any, like, what did I get from my analysis when she broke out?
I will actually, to give you a complete answer, I will ask you for 1 momentum to obtain information.
Is everyone okay with that?
Sure.
Oh, great keeper of the momentum. All right. Well, once the momentum is spent,
Yes. Ralder, please.
save us.
Ralder, darling, please.
It's okay. I can steal it.
Yes. Do the thing.
Anyway, so in reviewing the findings, you have reason to believe that while the compounds can certainly trigger that neurochemical effect, you notice that particularly as when running a scan of Woe's brain activity, you notice that essentially some sensory elements and parts of the brain that closely correlate with memory will be stimulated for a time. And that seems to essentially, that encompasses the attack, if you will, or the experience episode, however you prefer to think about it. That based on what you're seeing, you think that at least in the stages that you're currently in, that these episodes might only last for a short amount of time, or that it isn't necessarily something that where one is completely locked in. However, it does seem increasingly likely that the longer one experiences this, the more caught up one could become. Eventually, one could become trapped by whatever experience or episode they are dealing with. Um, you just don't have a model for it yet, since this is the first of the scans you've taken. Woe, however, there is something unusual about it. Insofar as, beyond the fact that she is obviously Kzinti, there is also a very particular bit of brain activity, a segment that you don't recognize an analog for in either Gorn, Klingon, or, with your recent experience, Nausicaans. There was a momentary flicker of some sort of neurological activity in a part of the brain that you don't fully understand, and it seems that that point helped her reset personally.
Okay. So you said that there's the potential of eventually getting lost in these. Does that imply that basically, right, so there's this level of something that's like cresting and falling, but each time it falls a little bit higher, like it lands a little bit higher, and so eventually it could reach that point where it's just always at the triggering phase?
Exactly.
Gotcha. So we are on a real timetable. Very good. I'd like to compare these biological readings with the biological readings of the plant life that I've collected from the planet.
Okay. You can go ahead and start comparing the compounds and set them in the medical computer. I'll ask you for a reason and medicine roll, and you may be assisted by the ship's computers and medicine. So if one of you would care to roll a single d20 for the ship, and
then my focus is apply, I'd imagine. One of them.
I believe you were saying something about paranormal activity?
Yes, excellent.
No, it is xenobiology, but it still works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tease.
And I'm going to say the difficulty is 3, and Ray, I appreciate you rolling the single d20 there, but there's actually a sheet for the ship. That being said, I might let you keep that because I do think that would be a crit.
Does the ship have a medicine of 2?
It might. I don't. Maybe not. Let's check. Reopen the sheet here.
It has a medicine of 1.
Oh, no, so that wouldn't be a crit. Well, I will let you roll with the ship just to see if it gets you the crit. I forgot you were on Calvec's budget build.
Yep. All right. So roll it. Unless the ship succeeds, there's no way for me. I could succeed.
You could potentially get get 3 successes.
Alrighty.
So
I think this might be a good use of my determination.
Okay, which value would you like to tap in order to access your point of determination?
Either become what others need, or if they breathe, they are my patient.
I think that the latter is more relevant here.
Excellent.
So, are you doing that to gain the automatic critical success?
Yes.
All right. So, with that, and I will take a moment while the players are rolling, I will take a moment to re-explain this. Characters do all have values which which are integral beliefs to their character, and once per session as I play it, they can tap those values to grant them a point of determination, which can do a few very interesting things. One of these is is referred to as the perfect opportunity, where they can gain 1 automatic critical success. So basically an automatic 2 successes. And combining that with the 2 successes that Kresik has just rolled, that brings you up to a total of 4. So if the ship can get a success or 2 as well, then that will net you some additional momentum. Would anyone like to roll for the ship? Or do we just want to take the D20 rolled out there?
I'm fine with just taking the roll.
Yeah, just go with the roll, because that's probably going to be safer, especially if I get anywhere near rolling the dice.
Spectacular. Well, Ray did roll a 2 there, so I will say that is a 5th success. So that will meet the task, which was a difficulty 3, and that will grant you 2 momentum back. So, Kresik, you will insert the readings that you took and compare that to the biological compounds. The computer is going to start working on this right away, but it is not quite as it is not as fast a process as you would like, only because of the slower nature of the there are some parts of the system which are not quite up to modern standards.
Some.
Hey, just because we got it at Radio Shack, it's in a KRS 80. Don't need to be mean.
Yes.
While that's going, is there any way we can see if there's like a timing element to each burst of hallucinations?
The only issue with that is I don't know that you quite have enough information yet, is the problem.
Yeah,
Because
I figured.
I think that we'd established that really Woes is the first sample that Kresik had truly studied during that, but
Yeah.
there's a tail end of this thought somewhere. There is one. I know it, but I don't. I've lost it completely. Oh dear.
Send the retrieval team in; it'll find it.
Yes. At any rate, yeah, you don't yet have quite enough information. You only have a very small sample size. That's what I'm getting
Right.
at. Yeah.
I'm going to look to Raldar, as far as I'm aware, he's the next person in line in the command structure. After the captain, who's not here, I'm going to ask him, can you open a ship-wide channel?
I should be able to do that.
If this is affecting us, it could be affecting everyone.
Let's see.
As Raldar prepares to lumber over to the channel, I would actually like to switch over the scenes for a moment and bring us back up to the bridge, where a very befuddled Tabak has has entered the room. Sans any of the crew. Indeed, you've not seen anybody since, I would think, the brief moment where Mr. Korg had passed through the engineering pit.
Sort of, yeah. Apparently everybody ducked into the sick bay as right the second before I came stomping up that corridor to the bridge.
Yes.
I probably stopped and wondered at the hot, glowy spot on the wall from somebody's sustained disruptor outburst, and went to the bridge and found nobody, which would be extraordinarily weird.
Yes.
And I didn't see anybody on my way there.
Yes. Your footfalls from the reactor pit to the bridge are about the only sound that you have to. They're about the only sound you have to greet you as you move from stern to bow. That and the occasional creak of bulkheads and deck plates that are feeling some strain from recent battles. You know some of the welding and some patch replacements have been done, but the Anne has taken very serious damage still, and there's much in the way of repairs that need to be done.
And at the moment, it's resting in a gravity well, so yeah.
Yep.
It's not happy. But yeah, get to the bridge. There's nobody in any of their stations.
Yeah.
Nobody pushing buttons.
Only
check
yeah.
the
All
bathroom.
of it is
Tool-
only. I'm sorry to keep interrupting there.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. You do indeed find that the bridge is it is completely empty. Not even Cheshire is occupying the captain's seat. The consoles are partially illuminated. Most are in standby mode while they're not being used for interstellar travel. It remains eerily quiet.
Right. So again, like I said, check the bathrooms because I believe there's 2 of them on the bridge.
Indeed.
Nobody's in there. Check all the wiring closets, all of the machinery. All the access corridors around the bridge because that's where people should be, and eventually go over to the computer section or go over to a station and just try to do a scan of the interior of the ship to find everybody, assuming internal sensors are online.
You go to the ship's sensors, and on first glance, you see that there are no biosigns anywhere else on the ship.
Not even mine.
Save for yours.
Or the cat.
Cheshire does not seem to be here as well.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Do a quick diagnostic of the computer system, of the sensor system.
The computer refuses to respond.
Curse vociferously.
Not even the ship will obey your commands anymore. Much less the miscreants that you now have to guide.
I'm apparently losing my mind now. So go ahead and do a full ship hail. Push the little button and try to catch everybody's attention, and basically say, "Where are you?"
Do you really think that they'll answer you now, Tabok?
Shut up! You're not here.
You hear behind you the sound of metal scraping against a bit of leather, and the clang of the edge of a blade to the deck. I would beg to differ.
Beg all you want, you're ingressor. You worthless piece of excrement.
And you shall join me soon.
Doubtful. I'm not even looking behind me. Just go back out the door, down the corridor, and I'm just going to start opening doors to wow, all of a sudden I can't remember the right terminology. just start opening doors as I come across them.
Mm.
There we go.
You move. You start moving from the bridge. I imagine first checking in front of you to the deflector control area before moving back from the bridge and through the.
Well, that's one of the ones I would have already checked because that's right there off of the main bridge. I would have again all of those areas right there would have been checked.
Yep.
So back down the deck I go.
Yep. You move along the access corridor, heading back towards the stern and moving to begin checking areas: the docking port, the targ pen, the galley, mess, all these areas on the main deck. All the while behind you, you are invariably followed by the voice and by the visage of a Klingon who you put to death already.
Yes. Which is why I am denying his existence, because his existence right now makes no sense.
Is it so strange, Captain? You barely deserve the title. No honor was gained from your struggle. And you did struggle, didn't you?
No honor was gained, but no honor was lost.
That's debatable, given that your success depended on that Kazin Hadeba. And your pet Gorn.
Leave me alone, spirit, whatever you are. I need to fix this ship and get us out of here. Leave me.
You make your way through you make your way to the area that should contain the targ pit, and as you open the door, you find yourself back on the bridge.
Okay, did I step through? Or was it I just opened the door, looked in, and then blam, I'm standing on the bridge again?
You opened the door, you looked in, you saw the bridge. You didn't necessarily say that you went in, so I'm going to say that you're peering into the bridge from the edge of the bridge. This is very much, if you recall, the
Nagila episode.
Yes, this is impossible.
Yeah, considering that the bridge is like 30 meters that way.
Yep. And you were definitely standing in a corridor when you opened the door.
Yeah.
Oh. You failed to understand, Patach, is that you're always coming back here. And
Okay, so I'm... Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you for not interrupting me. You are always coming back here. For your business here is unresolved.
Oh, it is quite resolved. You are dead.
Am I, though? He says, with his one arm raising the sword from the sort of dragged position up to more of a guard. You may have been able to jab that mechalith into my chest, but you haven't truly won the captaincy. Your mind is still stuck back in the conduits and crawl spaces in the plasma ducts.
Okay, so I'm going to turn to face whatever this is. Scream, "Silence!" as loud as I can, and try to, I don't know how. I mean, all I can think of is like D&D terms. Try to disbelieve the illusion.
I will give you that opportunity. By sheer force of will, I will ask you for a control and command roll. But I'm going to set this to a difficulty of 4 in order to break out.
Oh, dude, that's rude.
It is very rough.
Command and control?
Yes.
Uh,
I will tell you what, though. If somebody would like to assist, then I will give them the option of let's call this control and engineering.
I would like. Can I spend a momentum to get another die?
If the group's okay with it.
I am A-okay with it.
Do it.
Okay. I don't think any of my focuses are useful on this.
Sad.
So I can spend my point of determination and get another die based off of one of my values.
So what the way that spending the determination would work, if you link in an applicable value, then that would actually just give you a flat automatic critical success. A momentum would buy you an additional die.
All right, so I will spend the momentum to get the additional die, spend my determination.
Okay, which value would you be using?
Of only fools have no fear.
I would like to hear the rationale, but I do feel inclined that I could accept it.
Knowing it, well, obviously it's an extraordinarily weird situation. He is afraid of it. His value is work with it, use that fear, and right now he's trying to use that fear to just break out of whatever weirdness this is. He's thinking it's all in his own head. He's not sure what the cause is, but he's thinking it's all in his head, and he's just trying to fight his own brain.
I will let you use that then. So you gain an automatic 2 critical success. Or, well, critical success, so that's 2 already. And then
right.
You, I believe, spent momentum so that you could roll 3 dice.
Let's see how horrible the dice gods are in disliking me today. Never mind.
3
They love
successes.
Impossible.
So that is a total of 5 with the auto crit, and I will once again allow somebody, I think Raldar would be the appropriate one, to roll a single die and assist with control and engineering.
Wait, off of my sheet or fucking?
Yes, off of your sheet in particular. Okay. No luck there, but that's perfectly fine. We can fluff this narratively. Tabok, you turn and bellow out to dispel this apparition of Kalvek, and within the blink of an eye, he disappears from your sight, and you find that you are still in fact on the bridge. Indeed, you have only just stood up from the chair that you were at to use the sensor console. It is at this moment, though, that the intercom kicks up, and there is an audio message from Raldar. So I believe you guys were going to try to issue a ship-wide hail.
Yes.
Well, guess what you're doing now?
Well, Kresic, you're the scientist who made the discovery.
I push the button. What?
Attention. Attention, ship. There is something in the air. It causes hallucinations. If things do not seem right, it is because they are not. I'm working on a solution, and it will be done when it is done. I repeat, if things do not seem right, it is because they are not. Do not panic. There is no need to panic. Ship's doctor out.
I feel better already. Okay, double check the sensor systems and see where everybody is.
Okay. So the sensor readings do show you that indeed the doctor, along with your other Gorn engineer and the lone Kazinti on the crew, are all in the sick bay up on the crew deck. So you can easily pick them out. You realize that you are not alone. There is another life form, and that it is Cheshire, who is sitting in her usual perch on the captain's seat. All the remaining life signs appear to be in the cargo bay on the subdeck, and they are all Klingon.
Okay. I pick up Cheshire and head down to the medical bay.
Okay. You now have a curmudgeonly cat with claws of vicious 3 and.
Wait a minute. He's not that bad. She's not that bad.
Wait up. Are you saying that Kresic would have been better? Not Kresic. That Cheshire would have been better to fight the captain?
Ow!
I mean,
wow. Really? Man, no respect. I feel like the Rodney Dangerfield of the Klingon Empire.
Well, it's okay. The Empire's scarcely paying attention to you outside of that one Imperial squadron.
Yeah, and hopefully they think we blowed up. Anyway, yeah. So go on down to medical, holding the cat.
Yep. And with this little trot off, we should check in with with some of the people that were told not to panic. Mr. Korg, you find yourself slowly coming to, with a bit of a slight bit of pain in the back of your head from wherever that last blow landed. You are, of course, a resilient one. I mean, in meta with as a Hemkush, you do retain the Bracklol, which allows you some degree of resistance, and all the redundancies of your physiology, even grizzled older warrior as you are, has not caused you to lose a beat necessarily. So it is indeed a moment where you steadily find yourself coming to, and you realize all your other organs are where they should be,
including the 2 most important ones.
Yes. Your head is squared on straight, and your remaining arm is exactly where it needs to be. That is all I'm saying on the matter. But you do realize that arm is a bit constrained, seemingly slightly bound to a bit of to a section of the cargo bay. It is at this point as you begin to gain more awareness, Mr. Korg, that you realize that the Kusha all appear to that you've taken on, or rather, the people that were in the stasis pods all seem to be out, and with whatever makeshift armament they can wield. At least one of them, I would imagine, has your disruptor pistol. And I don't recall, did you also come in carrying a diktak?
Probably. It's a knife, isn't it?
Yep, they've got your dagger too.
Yep.
So you're saying he's been disarmed?
Oh no.
I'm gonna go there, but yeah.
Oh.
As I come to, well, first of all, my safety word is water, because I could use some. What on earth are you trying to do, or what on Kronos are you trying to do?
They look to you as you start as you begin to rouse, and one of the Kusha, a younger Klingon whose head is shaved, begins to close the distance. Ah, so they begin to awake now. Well, perhaps we can get some answers on our captors here. He reaches up with essentially what appears to be basically some sort of metal support for one of the shelves that was at some point damaged and separated. They probably had to tear a bit of it off themselves. You will answer, Patach.
What's your question?
Don't play foolish with me. Where have you taken us? Where? What have you done with the rest? How many are there? An older Klingon, a gentleman you know now by the name of Gradol, who is wielding your disruptors. Like, Takoth, calm yourself. Now, you will tell us the strength of our captors and how many are there, how well armed are they, so that we may seize control of your ship and return to our world.
Well, one mutiny today already. I don't think a second is in store, and you're probably not going to get too far from with the many. I'm still kind of woozy off of the hallucination stuff, and coming to. We have many warriors on board. A second mutiny of a group trying to help you from your previous captors might not seem like the most beneficial of paths for you to take. Let me go, and I'll talk to my captain. I can try to go easy on you for injuring of the most important person on the crew, the pilot.
The younger Kusha is going to try to storm towards you, just barely held back by Gradol. You dare mock us, you Patach! Oh, I know, we know not who you are or what you are, but I'm sure you can still bleed just as easily.
Well, my name's Korg. Pleasure to meet you. Now I'm not a stranger. How could I address you?
You don't deserve to even know my name. And the Klingon who had been identified as Dekoth tries to jab at you with the bit of rebar he has, basically. Gradol nonetheless holds him back, and some of the other Klingons come in. We're not going to defeat this bunch if they're. We're not going to be able to get information out of him if they're. If we kill off the only one we have. No.
Let him loose. If he wants to try to beat me with it, I'll fight him. I'll fight him square on. Whoever wins, I'll give you the information. Isn't that the old ways?
Choose your pain.
We are not warriors here. We are simple farmers. But rest assured that you and the others that have taken us from our world will know the suffering that desperate people can inflict when put to the test. And he's going to fire a disruptor shot towards the roof. Now, if you don't want, the next one can come at one of your arms or one of your legs.
Go for my right arm. I dare you. While he's doing that, and while he's shooting the thing, can I try like a fitness and maybe either engineering or science to try to get my other hand out?
I'll ask for. I suppose engineering would be marginally easier. I take it you're just trying to try to pull away at whatever restraint they've set you up with.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Security would almost be more appropriate, but I will allow for engineering. So I am a kind and benevolent GM.
Security would have been higher, but okay.
I'll allow security then.
So you want daring and security?
I was going to say that you could still use fitness.
Fitness? Perfect. And boom.
All right. I think that is going to be enough. Now, tell me, how is it that you are aiming to break through from your out of this restraint here?
He fires the disruptor into the air. That's basically when I want to snap out of it and try to tackle him to get the disruptor away from him.
Okay, so it's a simple snap and spring forward.
Yeah.
You lunge right into a tackle, which first I will say that with that roll, I think I could award you with 3 successes. I think that a momentum would be appropriate, so I will deal one out to you. But I will ask you next for a daring and security roll as you go to engage this man in essentially a grapple and disarm attempt. Exactly.
I do have the focus of hand-to-hand combat, but I should have mentioned that before I rolled. I'm sorry.
Well, if you enabled the focus, then that would work. Let's see. That said, okay. So we've got the roll there. That would be 2 successes from you versus the 1 success from the Kushop. However, you did roll a complication there. So I'm going to ask you first. Would you like to accept the complication, or would you prefer to buy it off with either 2 momentum or 2 threat?
I just earned a momentum. Let's get rid of it with the 2 momentum.
Okay. Raldar, if you care to drop the 2 momentum there.
Yep, just one moment, just fixing my chair. There.
All right.
2 momentum.
So you go in for the tackle. Mr. Korg, you go in, and With the lunge, you do have the option of aiming to deal damage as well.
Honestly, I just want to get the blaster away and holster it if I can.
Okay, so you move in, and you rush Gradol, wrenching the disruptor as he tries to bring it down. Your left arm meets his right, and uh, just kind of bends his wrist at a sufficient angle to where you are able to leverage your strength and your years of combat training from before in order to get him to lose his grip on that. At this point, I will rule not only that you have him disarmed, but in the moment you can have him grappled, and I will say if you wish to let go of him, then you can use that to basically perform a minor action to pick up the disruptor.
Yeah, I'll let him go and pick up the disruptor.
Okay, and did you want to actually holster the weapon, or were you going to keep it out?
I'm wanting to at least put it to my side down so it's not threatening.
Okay.
I'm assuming that it would be better to have it because I basically I don't want to threaten these guys with having a blaster right at their face.
Well, as you do that, the others set to more of an alert but ill-disciplined sort of ready stance. These are not people, of course, that are they're not quite as well trained as you are, but they are definitely a little more. They are like willing to engage you nonetheless. So one of them, the younger man identified as Dekoth, he is going to try to charge at you with the bit of rebar he has, which will essentially treat as a bludgeon, and he's going to take a swing at you. So that will be a one more daring and security roll if you're choosing to contest.
Yeah, and I'll add the focus to it.
Yep. So
Since I didn't last time.
all right, and that is 2 successes from Dekoth, the Kucha, but you score 3 successes. So he charges in and he tries to swing at you. How do you respond?
I'll kind of sidestep and hit him in the back of the head or in the back with the butt of the disruptor. That's enough. We're not going to get anywhere off of this rock by fighting each other.
Let's see. First, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and roll me for your unarmed strike. I will I will also roll 1 challenge die to supplement that to reflect that it's basically a bludgeon of a sort.
Daring and security again?
No, this you just go down to the bottom left where you have your weapons, and then
There it is.
you roll you click the combat thing next to unarmed strike.
There you go.
Which
Oh my god.
That seems very high. I think the sheet is broken. But let me double check that. I'm going to peer in real quick.
Pretty sure I didn't add anything to that. I don't remember adding.
Yeah, I see what went wrong here. So the values with the character sheet that we are using, you actually only need enter the base damage of the weapon, and your security stat is added to it already. So
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll me that d20 again, or rather the damage. Okay, so that is a 1, 2 effects, counting the extra one I added for that. If you wish, you may roll you could spend momentum to re-roll some of these zeros there.
Go for it. I'm good with it.
How much momentum have we got left?
You
2.
should still, yeah.
Okay.
Technically, you gained 1 additional momentum from your successful combat there.
Okay.
So you
So
could
yeah,
you can either bank that momentum or you can use it to re-roll those zeros.
let's re-roll those zeros.
Okay, go back up to where the dice roller is for like your tasks and such. You'll want to go to the challenge dice section at the bottom of that dice roller bit. Enter in the number 3 to that segment, and then roll that one more time for me. There you go. Ooh, there you go. So that's 2. That's a 2, another 2, and another effect. So that is in total, I believe 7 damage rather. And with
Jesus.
actually that's 8 damage with the other bonus effect I gave you. And all of those effects that's meant to score a knockdown. So you very easily just jog this guy right in the back. It's like you know how sometimes they give that like especially in Deep Space Nine, I think, where they give that open palm strike just below the back of the neck and it knocks people out without fail.
Or the Captain Kirk double fist to the small of the back.
Yeah, well, really, sensitivity here, Tabak. Mr. Korg can't do the double fist strike, so the
My
dis-
bad. Sorry. Bit of Klingon ableism. I apologize.
yeah, yeah. Korg is still plenty handy, even in
Even
absence.
if he is only single-handed.
Yes.
Just don't ask me to applaud anywhere.
Well, anyway, all the asymmetry gags aside here, the smack of the pistol butt against the back of this guy's head, possibly neck, somewhere in that area, is enough to knock him completely to the ground, um, and leave him incapacitated with a non-lethal injury. I'm presuming it is a non-lethal injury that you are going for in this case.
Yeah, I just want to have him basically on the ground.
Yep. The other Kushan looking to this situation are obviously very concerned. I'll mark him as unconscious for a moment. Um, one of the Kushan, a slightly older woman, I'd say, probably by Earth reckoning, probably somewhere around her 50s, but like very obviously fit and well aged from the years of work that she has put in.
A
Still,
MILF.
of course. Um,
A
she
Klingon. Okay.
she wields she is the one wielding your diktak, and she kind of clicks that switch that allows for the parts of the blade to come out, essentially the hilt guards, and again, she's not necessarily an experienced warrior, but she does seem to be sort of angling in your general direction. It is, however, your turn first, so I will give you the chance to try and do something or perform some sort of task.
I'll step back away from her injured friend on the ground, and
Okay?
be like, I'm like, ah, help your friend. He's injured, and I'd like my knife back. I don't want to fight. We need to get this ship off this rock. And yeah.
Hmm. The Klingons hesitate for a moment here. Are you attempting to persuade them to, are you basically going for a persuasion roll to try and convince them not to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll ask you for let's see. I'll ask you for a presence and command roll.
I'll use my inspiration focus if that's cool.
That would apply here, I think.
Oh no.
That is
Ooh.
0 successes, and one of those is a complication.
That's not
You-
0
you
successes. That's
can't-
-1 successes.
Yeah, you can still buy it off for either 2 momentum or giving the GM 2 threat. Alternatively, you can accept the complication and well, basically take a narrative issue. What would you prefer to do?
Let's see what happens.
Okay, so the you have your pistol angled at them, and they seem to be hesitating. There are more of the Klingons, some just kind of barely stumbling about, as despite Dr. Krusik's best efforts, they've been slow to recover from their removal from the stasis pods. You have a good count on most of them. However, there is one small one that escaped your gaze, and she, I'm going to say, had some sharp bit of hull fragment, which she has been holding just in case Mr. Kresik ever decided to try to eat her. So let's give that a roll.
Is this the kid that I helped?
Exactly that.
Okay.
And that is going to be a stab. That's going to be one success to stab at the back of your leg with a very sharp object. So we'll treat that as a dagger, basically. And let's roll for the melee there. Oh, that's actually supposed to have vicious there too. Or rather, vicious 1 there. You feel the terrible plunge in your leg of something very sharp as somebody stabs you from behind. Um, she cries out, "You monsters! Monsters! This will stop you!" And the other Klingons seem to be closing the distance there, inspired by the child's actions. You did not sustain an injury, so you still have the ability to disengage here, if you so wish, but if you elect to stay, it seems that this fight is going to get very difficult very fast. Either that, or you are going to probably kill a few of these people with the disruptor.
And a warrior's disruptor probably doesn't have a stun setting.
Klingon disruptors do not have stun.
Now, you can kill them now, or you can kill them later, basically.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna keep trying to pressure them to stand down. But if they're gonna keep coming at me to fight, then there's no way to tell. For me, there's no way to tell if they're under the hallucination stuff that they were talking about. Is there?
Yeah, I'd say that you probably came to during Mr. Krasik's announcement, so you might have a vague idea that that is something that could be happening right now. However, you don't know whether whether these people are all essentially experiencing it, if they're under some influence there, if they've just decided that at some point Tabak was lying and that you were actually the people that kidnapped them. There's a lot of unknowns there, but there's still the chance that they are just horribly mistaken, or rather, they're operating off this misunderstanding.
How is the cargo hold lit?
It's somewhat dim. I'd say the general kind of dark but slightly reddish mood lighting, essentially.
I wouldn't be able to hit a panel to turn the lights off completely, would I?
I
You
think
could
I was just going to say most of the lighting is just coming from the whole ceiling. If you
yeah,
turn
I
off
mean,
sections, I don't think you get it all.
yeah, I mean, you could shoot something and cause it to spark up a little. That might give you a moment to disengage if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, that's what I kind of was thinking. Shoot up and away from people, so I'm not, not going to knock something down on top of them,
Okay.
but get a little bit of distractions to make it easier to go with.
Okay. I'll say that there's a panel that you think is safe enough or like just enough separation. Um, and I will ask you for a control and security roll. This will be a difficulty 2. Um, I'll tell you what, because that is only one success there. Um, you do have there is an option where you can succeed at cost. The issue is essentially like you can succeed at the task, but you accept a complication with it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Okay? So I will rule that you manage to fire a shot that hits a bit of lighting panel that sparks up and just explodes, bursts everywhere. It provides enough of a distraction or like hesitation for the farmers that go through the main approach. One of them kind of stumbles off to the side and knocks into some of the cargo crates next to you. I'm not going to go full wharf on you and say that they knock something over that like falls and shatters your spine completely, um, but rather they do knock into something and a disaster domino effect kind of comes into play where it slams into your arm and it will cause you to lose hold of your disruptor, which in the now diminished light is difficult to see. You still have the ability to retreat, but you currently have no weapons otherwise. Save, I suppose, for the bit of hull fragment that has been lodged in your leg.
Thanks, little girl. I'm gonna try to go after my disruptor. I don't want to be without a weapon. So might be a foolish idea, but I got to do it.
Fair enough. I'll ask you for an insight and security here. And with 4 successes, I was about to say I'd give you a difficulty 2 there, so I'm going to say you take back that 2 momentum. You have the opportunity to grab it and bring it back to your side. Some of the Klingons are making it around to an area where they could get to you. The sparks are diminishing, so you have essentially one more action left in you if you want to get away or decide to engage.
Let's see. What would Tabok do? Uh,
Thought bubble to Mr. Korg's inner Tabok. Tell me what is the inner Tabok saying? I'll take either Tabok or Azik's best impression of Tabok.
Oh, let him. No. I want to hear what he thinks Tapok would be saying.
I'm picturing a little white Klingon, like a little angel Klingon saying, "You should run," and then the little devil Klingon, kill them all."
But which one's Tabok?
That's the question. I'm gonna book it. I'm gonna run.
Yeah. Come to think of it, the inner I feel like the inner Klingon struggle would be um, the more angelic figure would be more to the effect of Ah, honorable battle! We must engage. And the devil...
That'd be one side saying that. The other side would be saying there is no honor to be gained in killing people who can't hurt you.
That's true.
That's kind of my thought.
Choose your enemies well.
I could blast them, but the other side of me too is like I've already scraped up the ship by the really horrible landing. I don't want to have to if we're planning on selling these people or sending them home, whatever Tabak plans to do with them. I don't want to lose out on the credits that we're going to gain from that. So
oh my.
I don't want to piss off the captain anymore because I want that captain seat. So
oh dear, that's
uh-huh.
quite a bit more internal monologue than I was expecting. Anyway, yeah, I will allow you to escape. Jagged bit of the inner hull still stuck in your leg as the Klingons cry out towards you, screaming in rage, some fear, and among the indistinct chatter, the smaller girls' cries of monster ringing out. But yeah, you will find your way back up through the subdeck.
Cool.
So as all of this goes on, let's cut back to the medical bay. Several minutes pass as the computers continue to work.
Have I made it back to the
you have indeed
by this point?
You have indeed made it, and you're just entering as you find the rest of the crew. Well, save for Ezek. What I would say that most of them would be. I don't know. I'll ask each of you kind of describe your temperament at this particular moment as Tabak enters the bridge or the medical bay.
Carrying the cat.
Yes.
Don't everybody jump at once.
Are we gonna do it in order, or are we gonna just who first? What's
Ray,
going on?
go ahead and start us off. How's Woe?
Damn it!
Open mouth, insert
Woe.
foot.
Shut up. Woe is sitting in a chair with her knees huddled up to her chest, and she's just kind of laying her head on the top of her knees, and she's just, oh, I feel like a tug in my head. And then she sees Captain. Hi, how you doing?
Somewhat better than you.
That's literally all of human emotion. Well, not human, what the fuck ever you are. It's all everything all the time. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. She closes her eyes back and just hunkers down into a littler ball, which is still quite large.
Well, yes.
Indeed so. Raldar, how are you handling the situation? You've managed to avoid further hallucinations at this point.
Well, can we fly yet is the important question.
I'm afraid not. You've not moved to conduct additional repairs at this point while Kresik has been doing his work. Although if you wish to head off and do so, then it may be against Kresik's advice, but it would get you off the planet faster.
I'll be fine. There's nothing going on that immediately requires my attention. I can just come back to the sick bay.
I watch him leave.
Raldar begins to get up from where he was and pass you on the way out.
Where are you going?
Well, you can get an update here, and I can keep working on the ship.
Don't trust what you see.
That will make doing repairs exceptionally difficult.
Well, do you have a cure?
We'll be ready when this is complete. I hope.
All right, then I will wait here then.
Krasik,
If you're going to object so much.
Krasik,
Captain,
scan Cheshire, please.
I scan Cheshire.
Same. Is the same contagion affecting her?
Reason and medicine difficulty 1.
And this is when paranormal phenomena comes into play.
Absolutely. It was all the cat all along.
I've hidden the little diamond collar that says ISIS.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
That is,
I'm really good at
That is
cats.
4 successes there. Yes, you are the best at cats. And you find that indeed she has similar compounds built up in her system. She isn't necessarily showing the same signs of being affected, but she's probably got some. Like the cat obviously has, like it's different from a fully sapient being such as the rest of the crew, but she could be affected in principle. Maybe.
Similar. Actually, wait. Since I have now scanned almost all of the main characters, can I spend, because I gained an additional, let's see, we're, 1 momentum over right now?
Yes, that with the 3 successes, 2 of those could be banked, and you would have 1 floating momentum.
Excellent. From the fact that I have now scanned everybody,
including the cat,
including a non-sapient life form, can I start? Can I spend that floating momentum for additional information? Can I start trying to get a timeline or any kind of progression information based off of what I have now?
I will allow you to start comparing that with the information that you have, and begin to start analyzing begin to start getting that. The short answer is yes.
Okay.
I will allow for that. Which most certainly, the compound actually seems to have built up it seems to have built up slightly faster in Cheshire compared to the rest of you. It seems that to an extent, scale might have something to do with it, but exposure, like from what you're starting to gather, exposure was probably a bigger factor. And I'm going to go ahead and say that as you start to assess the progression, it becomes very clear, first and foremost, that the timetable on this suggests essentially when the ship started being exposed to the atmosphere in this, or rather the planet's atmosphere, that this is when it happened. Rather, when you opened up the hatches, opened up external vents, and started taking in air from the outside, as opposed to the reserve system, or the reserve life support system. It would also make sense for Raldar and Woe, who's at this point show the greatest sign of advance, even though they are considerably larger. They've had considerable exposure from time spent outside the ship. Um, as all of these readings are going forward, you're starting to look through the genetic sequences more and more, and the information is starting to become a little bit clearer for you. As the genome steadily unravels before you and you begin to make sense, you're very close to it now. Most certainly, yes, there are the beginnings of threads as you look over the different strains of Gorn life signs, and you'd pause for a moment looking up from the sensors in your lab, and it does. You're not entirely sure why or what disrupted your train of thought. Maybe you've just been at this for so long, examining the various bits of telemetry and bits of sensors from like sensor readings from all the sundry Gorn species as you've been going through this. But it's a moment of well, just a moment of pause, let's say, and it's in this moment that you feel a reassuring set of claws, or rather one reassuring claw, land on your shoulder.
I turn around.
A Gorn woman of some familiarity greets your gaze.
So close. So close. How many days has it been?
I haven't been keeping count lately. I don't think you'd want me to either.
I suppose you're right. The work on your end?
Oh, the latest. I've been going through samples from the Ruseth and some of the other subgroups. And I think that we are almost complete with the mapping.
Good. Oh, the progress we could make if we could just finish this. And then I could sleep.
Oh, I get the feeling, Kressik, that there will be even after we are done, we will find very little rest here. The work we do is important.
The work we do is the future. It's the only way.
This.
And our finances.
Grathar continues to be amenable, though I must say, I am not as comfortable with the military's continued interest.
This was always going to be a part of it. We can make their soldiers stronger, faster. It's a price to pay, but a small one.
She gazes almost absent-mindedly towards your screen and cocks her head to the side for a moment. Yeah. Her eyes begin to widen. Slitted eyes beginning to focus in a little bit more. Wait, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
What am I saying?
As you look there, contrary to the revelation of the day, you begin to notice information that you begin to notice some interesting readings as the computer on the Yan begins to finish its analysis of the comparison between the biological compounds that are showing up in everyone's bloodstreams and and the readings you took of the plant life, the algae that you collected earlier.
I curse in an unintelligible, sibilant Gorn word that the universal translator cannot quite translate.
Oh. Such that there is any display of like happiness or some sense of accomplishment. The claws again, kind of, are the claw from. Oh, brain, come on. Astath grasps your shoulder slightly firmer. I think we might not have to wait any longer.
I think you're right. I have calls to make.
And for the rest of you, that is the announcement that Cressick gives in the sick bay.
Halls? What do you mean?
Captain, my apologies. I'm back now.
That division.
I'm back now. I'm back.
How long do we have?
All right, I'm going to take a look at this data now.
Okay. So, Cressick, from what you have determined, there is indeed a relationship between the plant life and the compound that is building up. For as you observe the sample, the sensor data from the sample has, as crude as the Klingon medical sensors are, the upgrades that they've received are sufficient for you to determine that while they are indeed producing oxygen that is necessary for you to be able to breathe the air on this planet, there are trace amounts of more complex organic compounds here, compounds which you probably haven't encountered before, but are recognizable insofar as you could understand their function. They would very likely, it's universal enough, you realize that it would, across all of your physiology, be able to impact basically impact everybody's, what am I trying to say here? It's something that you could breathe in and that would accrue psychotropic effects on everyone over time. So the very likely cause, as if the trend line didn't confirm it already, but it is your exposure to the atmosphere, and very specifically something in the atmosphere that is causing these hallucinations.
Air is haunted.
Yes, the air is full of ghosts.
That's what I tell them.
Would you care to explain that in a manner that I could understand?
That's what I was trying to do.
Can I cock a gun and say air's haunted?
That's what I was trying to do. Apologies. There is something in the air from the life on this world that appears to be affecting us.
If we close off the ship and filter the air that we have, will we be fine?
It should at least buy us time. I'd like to remove this contaminant completely. I will
we
work
get
on
any
that.
masks we can
I will
wear?
do what I can to remove it from the air. You do what you can to remove it from our bodies.
Good.
And for now, nobody else goes outside.
Yeah. It does occur to you,
Do we have any
Captain.
respirators on hand? Sorry.
What was that?
I said, do we have any respirators on hand?
Perhaps.
Any masks?
Perhaps.
For 2 advantage, for 2 momentum, we probably would.
Oh, most certainly.
How much momentum we got?
Full stack.
Oh, sexy, sexy. Yeah, let's get some gas masks.
One will fit your muzzle. Good.
It at least fits the tip of my muzzle.
Just breathe through your nose.
It will probably take some jury rigging, but I would imagine that there are some respirators that would give you at least some momentary freedom or like momentary lack of exposure. Um,
Did Azek make it up here to the
that
med
is
bay?
that is actually it's something I was about to get to here in a moment. But yeah, I will say there are some respirators on hand. And further, Captain, you could close off the system and re-engage the life support systems. There are issues, of course. The respirators probably don't have a whole lot of. There wouldn't be a whole lot of time in terms of their use. I imagine that it's more like an emergency thing if there's a breach and loss of atmosphere, something that would allow you to be able to breathe a bit
Well,
still.
also sometimes when you're doing repair work, obviously you're gonna, or something is burning on board the ship. You need a respirator mask to at least filter it
Exactly.
out of your the air you're breathing. But
Yeah.
so it's not necessarily. I wouldn't see it as like a
Oh,
pressure suit or a space suit, which we
I got
obviously don't have any of those on board.
yeah.
But
I
this would at least reduce our exposure for a little while
Yeah.
we continue to work and while we try to purge it out of our air.
Yeah, that's fair. So you do have that option, which will help you get through this a little easier. And you could probably, with a very slight bit of jury rigging, adapt something a little better inclined for Woe, Kresik, and Raldar. Although I imagine that might take a task to properly manage. Um, for the As far as the life support goes, you have a relatively brief window of time that would be functional. Repairs to the system have not yet been completed, and so you're still relying on an only partially functional system right now.
Correct. So the masks would be a stopgap to allow us to finish repairing the life support systems sufficiently.
Okay.
And in the meantime, hopefully, Kresik can figure out a way to figure out a magical hypo spray to clear it out of our bloodstreams without having to resort to, you know, some sort of here, sit down. We're going to plug a hose into one vein and another one into another, and just filter it all out the hard way.
Indeed.
We all got to go on dialysis to get this thing cleaned out.
Yep.
Hopefully
I'm
not.
hoping not.
Yep. As you begin to discuss these plans, the door opens, and first will come in a very panicked Rantal Vopri. Says, "I found him. He's been hit. He's been injured." And just behind him will come yIvoqHa'egh, who manages to limp in, a hull fragment from stuck in the back of his leg, which is visible to you, and undoubtedly at this point there's probably some dampness along that particular pant leg from the reddish purple blood that has been steadily oozing out of the wound.
In Kalus's name, what happened to you?
Well, cargo hold, got knocked unconscious, and had to deal with the unrowdy folk we have down there. They seem to be under the impression we're kidnappers. I tried to talk them down, but it didn't work, and I think we need to get off this rock, Captain.
Yes, we have discovered that there is some chemical in the air that is affecting our memory and thinking. We're going to try to purge it from our atmosphere. Kresik, I don't suppose you happen to have an anesthetine grenade, do you?
Do I have an anesthetine grenade?
Just asking. You seem to have a whole lot of interesting things.
Regrettably, you used up the last of those some time ago.
Yeah, I figured.
Can you come up with something fairly quickly? Or no?
I'd imagine I have hypos of anesthetine.
You do, in the nasty medical gun that has.
Oh no, I have regular hypos too. My gun is just for specialty concoctions.
I see.
So I'm going to.
We need something airborne to dump into the cargo bay, so we don't have to worry about them.
That would require life support systems to move air.
Then fine, we will get on that immediately. Kresik, did you happen to lock the cargo bay when you left? Not Kresik, Azek.
I'm going to blame that on... I don't know, sir. I'm going to blame that on the gas.
Running around my ship. Are they armed? Well, obviously, one of them was.
You remember that nice, sweet little girl that I brought through engineering on the way to the cargo hold?
Yes, that was the one who woke up first.
I point at the wound on my leg.
He looks at the wound, looks up at you, looks back at the wound, grins and laughs. I like this child.
Me too. I'm gonna appreciate this little scar that I'm gonna have. With your permission, Cap, I'd like to get back to the bridge to try to sort out the systems up there.
Get to the bridge and lock down the subdeck.
Roger that. I start limping to the bridge.
Just lock all the doors in the subdeck.
I head over to Raldar and hand him a handful of hypos. And I just say, if my patience decides to attack, try not to kill them.
I step out of the sickbay and I just go over to the controls for the interdeck elevator and lock it down. Step over to one of the access ladder ways, close it because those can get closed off. Close them off from the deck below. And lock it.
Vopri.
Yes.
You will help me.
Oh, he kind of hunches down a bit.
Or we all die.
I will assist.
Good. Thank you.
The phrase does not roll off your tongue that easily, and Vopri is very easily. Well, he is. he is almost as off-put or surprised at this as you are by using it. Everyone just agrees it doesn't feel terribly natural.
So I'm getting his help to help try and synthesize some kind of chemical compound that can chelate this stuff out of our system, basically.
Mm-hmm. Some sort of counter agent.
Or, yeah, like you said, or something to just go into the bloodstream and yank it out of the system and then dump it into our kidneys.
Yes.
We can pee it out later.
Okay, so with that, Vopri will come over to assist you with that particular measure, and he'll he will get on the move. Let's see here. As this is as he's going about this, he'll walk over and start looking over the bits of sensor telemetry. Unusual atmospheric compound. I did not detect this. I am so sorry.
No one did. Cry later, fix now.
And he will join you in setting to work as you begin to synthesize something. Raldar and Tabak, you have some respirators to work at this. So, would you? What would be your next move here?
Aside from locking down the subdeck, getting right onto life support.
Okay. So, I also recall you were sending Azek to do the same, or rather, to go up to the bridge essentially in order to conduct repairs to life support.
Well, Azek was going to the bridge. He was going to lock all the doors in the subdeck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm locking down the interdeck elevator and the ladder ways. There should be 4 of them that go down into the subdeck and obviously up.
Ah, yes, your instructions are quite clear now. So we will just go from there and allow you to set about repairs. So, Mr. well, let's see. We'll say that the crew then begins to scatter. Woe, are you aiming to do anything in particular, or does anyone seek an order, or
Don't kill
Yeah, I guess.
Don't kill anybody, and just fix what you can fix.
All right. I guess I grab a welding torch and try and close up some of the holes that are just rampant through the ship.
Okay. So,
And I would also have given you a handful of my hypos as well, just in case.
Oh, bless you.
All right. So you all set to work on your respective areas, going to try and close things down. Now, let me double check just one thing. I have quite forgotten where the life support system was.
It's all over the place. Life support is scattered. There are atmospheric bottles stored all over the place.
That's right.
It's a non-centralized system because it's a combat vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, as you move to set about the ship and begin to execute repairs, I'm actually going to say let's make this a part of the extended task we've carried through from the session. So at last go, out of the work track of 24, we had scored 15 work on that, and 2 of the 4 breakthroughs necessary to complete the repairs. Now, I believe that for the work track, or rather, in order to continue your work here. This would be a difficulty 2 control and engineering task with a resistance of 2. So you need to score at least 2 on the roll, and then any work that you do has 2 subtracted from it.
Ow. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to. God, that would be using up 3 to get 2 extra dice. I don't have any more determination to use.
No. Allow me to clarify. The work and all of that, that is separate from the actual task roll stuff you do. The task roll just determines whether you succeed and are able to attempt that, and then you roll challenge dice afterwards.
All right. So, all right, then I'll use 1 momentum to get another die.
Okay. And you may have one person assist you with control and engineering as well. I would accept
Probably.
either Woe or Raldar.
I believe Raldar is more qualified for this, I think.
Fair enough.
All right, so here we go with my 3 dice. Da-da-da. What'd I do?
You
Oh,
scored 3 successes.
nice.
And another one from Raldar, which will give you back 2 momentum. And Tabok, since you were lead on this, I'm going to ask you to set your challenge dice. It would be set the challenge die to, that would be 2 plus your discipline here. So since you have an engineering score of 5, I will ask you to set the challenge dice section just below your task roller to 7. Remember to press enter before you roll that, but once you've set it to 7 and push enter, go ahead and give it a roll. That is 1, 2, 4, 5, 7 work done. Subtract 2 from the resistance, and that is still 5 work, which should be enough for a 3rd breakthrough, and that will put you actually up to 20 on the task roll.
Will that get
Or on the work track, rather.
start working again?
I will say that does get life support working on several of the mains, like along several segments of the main deck and some of those above, as you and Raldar, Raldar, and Woe begin moving about the ship. The work is a little bit slow, but you manage to compensate for it as best as you can. You had already, by this time, taken the broken life support pods and basically extracted useful equipment from those that weren't in use anymore, and those had been dispersed to segments across each of the decks. So you finally are able to work in a lot of the prefabricated components, things that you've jury-rigged, and start installing the systems proper. Some of them are in a state where they could function, and you are under a bit less pressure in terms of being able to succeed. There are other systems that will still need to be finished. At this point, too, I would say that you kind of run through the checklist of areas that were either already patched or that have been that you could get away with sealing off. I would go so far as to say that a lot of the basic patchwork has already been done, and while there are still some exposed segments, there's nothing critical. So you could opt to just seal off doors if you want to ensure that there's no opportunity for either the planet's atmosphere to come in or for anything to vent out for when you go into space.
That's essentially what we're trying to do. This is
Yep.
restrict the access of the magic mushroom planet.
Indeed. So as you are going about that effort, I would say that as you are moving through the ship, you essentially realize that you're mostly there. Um, However, there are a few of these systems that still need to be patched in the subdeck locations to make sure that, for one, anything if there's any bit of patchwork there that needs to be completed, that can be sealed off completely. Further, you also realize that if you want to cycle out the hallucinogens properly, there are probably a few life support systems. A few life support nodes are going to need to be repaired.
Yeah.
And there's also some stations in the reactor pit that need to be fully brought back up in order to complete that.
I like the one that Raldar shot. Um, have we seen hide or hair of the other Kuha? Did any of them get out of the subdeck before we locked it down?
None seem to have made it in any part of the main deck that you have made it to.
All right.
However, as
done all these repairs, it will suddenly come to mind, and I will say, yIvoqHa'egh, would you please check this internal sensors and make sure that all of our guests are still in place where they should be?
And you will indeed get that opportunity here. Let me just make sure that things are moving properly. Okay, yeah, Mr. Korg, you arrived in the bridge a very short time ago. The limp may have slowed you down a little bit, but you've been methodically sealing off some segments of the subdeck, particularly trying to contain the cargo bay. And you begin pouring through the life readings throughout the ship, and that is when you see the following. So take a quick peek in your Roll20 chat there.
I'm assuming we've got communications up, right?
Yep.
We need security detail to the reactor pit subdeck level. Yeah, looks like a few of them made it in there.
Right. I guess Woe's on it. Do I have anyone I could take with me?
You pretty much have the player group. You killed everybody else.
I don't kill. I killed nobody.
I'm using the you plural here.
That's a collective
Okay.
view. A collective
The collective.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he was
him.
from the south, that would have been a y'all have already killed everyone.
I mean, technically
Yes,
I am,
yes.
but I don't.
Disintegration is not killing. It's not the same.
Oh my god. Shit. All right. I guess I head out alone because Krezzik's doing important Krezzik-y things, and y'all are fixing shit. So unless yIvoqHa'egh wants to join me with his bum ass leg, I think it's just me. Okay.
Well, I'm all the way at the bridge, so if you need assistance, I don't mind coming down. It's just going to take me a while.
Take your time. I'm just gonna go straight towards it. Oh, hold on. 1 second.
Okay. Whilst Woe undergoes yet another hallucination on
Okay.
her. Oh,
Sorry, I had to clock out of work. Anyways.
there you go.
Okay. So I guess I head on down there.
Yeah.
Top speed.
You make your run towards the. You make a run straight for the reactor pit, as you make your way down, you feel you begin to notice that along the same path, matching you step for step, it seems to be, well, it seems as though you have a shadow.
Oh
Or-
shit. I try really hard to ignore the goddamn shadow. But let's say I tense up and I do have to look to make sure. What do I see?
You are greeted by a face all too familiar. One very much yours
Oh,
and yet not your own. Glaring at
oh
you
god,
with utter contempt.
I don't have time for your shit right now. You're not real. I'm not doing this. I keep trying to. I keep going. I brush off that bullshit there.
And in that moment, you manage to sever it for now, but the demons are out there, so to speak.
Oh, God. I shudder a little bit. But I keep going. Keep heading towards the reactor pit.
Yep. Is anyone else endeavoring to join Woe besides Azek?
I'm probably already in one level of the reactor pit, so I might as well go downstairs and find out what's going on once she gets here.
I
So-
mean,
Go ahead there, Raldar.
I have the hypo sprays for knocking people out.
As do I. I already forgot about them. Okay.
So, we'll say that you rally on the main deck where you can discern from you could probably discern from the deck below either by sensor reading or if there is any sort of open gangway, which I would imagine that unless I am terribly mistaken about the layout, it is something that you could seal off. Unless we're talking about a more open concept similar to what Starfleet vessels have.
No, this thing is multiple decks, but
each one's kind of segmented or closed off.
For the engine room, there are access panels, access ways to get between in emergencies, and doing repair and whatnot. So yeah, you just open up a hatch and climb down a ladder. That's not a problem.
More submarine than battleship.
Yes,
Yes,
very much so. But they're sized for Klingons,
which is just a little smaller than is ideal for the Gorn and abnormally large Kzinti that you have on board.
They could probably squick through. I mean, Kzinti are squishy, kind of like cats.
Yep. Saving
Anything
grace.
my head can fit through. Everything else can.
If we smear butter around the hatch, they might be able to get in easier.
Oh, let's not butter these people.
You rally
real quick.
Yeah.
Well, we have to use the butter, and then we have to use seasoning because then it'll be assault and battery. Buttery.
No. Oh my God. No. I'm booting you into space. You've you've yeed your last toss, sir. That is enough. Oh God. Okay. So am I meeting with Tabak and Raldar, or am I just like going straight?
I'd say that Tabak and Raldar they're in a position to meet you.
Okay.
I would even, if you wish to wait for it, I would say that Ezek could also come up to meet you in the engine into the reactor pit.
Yeah, I'd say let's wait for him because he's the only one that actually knows what's going on. I see the cap in my hand and my hypo spray. I said, "You're staying here. You're not going with us."
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you. You are shit in a fight, mate, and I mean that as lovingly as possible. You are terrible in combat.
Well,
I think you need to keep working on the ship.
I had a bad day.
Yeah. This woe leaves you.
You've had several bad days since I've met you.
Yes.
Your life is one bad day.
Little confidence, how little confidence your crew has in you, and how much they are truly on the mark. You are no warrior.
Kresik,
Certainly
how
not
close are
fit
you
to
to
be captain.
filtering this stuff out of our bloodstreams?
How close am I?
Oh, it is still going to be a little ways, at least one more task, which we can give you an off roll. We can give you a roll on here in just a moment.
Sounds good. Working on it.
I looked to Aldar. I was like, "You with me?"
I'm still conscionable.
I kind of raised my eyebrows at the captain, knowingly.
Go. Don't kill them if you can avoid it.
That is the least of my priorities at this point. And I can just kind of feel the shadow still kind of lingering in the back of my mind.
There's naught but judgment and harsh judgment at that over your over the perceived intent. And so the you have it hasn't transitioned you over to engineering. That is a difficult thing. There we go. So you prepare your weapons. I will ask for those going down to the sub deck, which will look suspiciously like the main deck. How armed are you going in? Are you going for disruptors, or you just going for melee or unarmed combat? Like, what weapons would you have ready?
I guess the hypo sprays.
I gotcha. So hypo in one hand, open fist in another, or are you dual wielding?
Well, Azek isn't, but he's got his disruptor in hand.
I wasn't going to say it.
Real quick, I turn it over to Aldar and Tebok. Is there any chance you can shut the gravity off in the reactor pit?
No, because we're on a planet.
Yes, that makes sense. Shut up. Okay. Yeah, I guess I just have a big knife and my hypo sprays.
Okay.
But you have a knife on the end of every finger.
Yeah, and I want a bigger one. So you got a problem with that?
I'm not going to tell you anything. No, I don't have a problem with that. I'm too busy fixing the ship, and if you kill me, I can't fix the ship.
See,
God, he sounds so defeated. It's sad.
I'm useful. I have a purpose. You should keep me around.
That wasn't him. That was me. So, you know.
That was absolutely him.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
I guess I'll hold my dagger in my other hand, you know. Well, I'll just have it in the ready to grab position.
Okay. And then Ezek, you said you had a disruptor out?
Yeah.
Okay. Potentially lethal combat. And so you begin to make your way towards the access way. As this goes on, we'll take a moment up in the medical bay.
Everybody's back.
There are copies or hallucinations. Vote Price stops hallucinating. Oh, that is a relief. They're all gone. Yeah! He sees Kresik behind him. Oh.
Poor Vopri.
I believe our first step should be Well, you have analysis here, so we can begin synthesizing a counter agent of some sort. This would be a gated task, I suspect. Perhaps reason and medicine would do the trick.
He quizzically cocks his head at this strange sounding words.
Kresic, it does
But
occur to
nods.
you that in deep space there have been a number of cases of meta-speak that have occurred after long-term exposure.
Absolutely. So this is going to be reason medicine. Pharmacology is a good focus.
Pharmacology will definitely apply, and since you've put in a lot of the work here, I'm going to ask you for, honestly, with as much work and as many successes as you've put in, I will ask for a difficulty 2 on this.
Excellent. Everyone good with me taking a momentum for an extra die?
No.
Go for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
who said? Who said no?
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, there's a veto, so no momentum
Yep.
or complications.
Oh well.
You can do it. I was just
Thanks.
Come what may. All right, and that is 3 successes there, so that will beat that. And Raldar, if you like, you can just pick that momentum back up, or draw a new one, and we can delete the other. There we go. With quick study and work to compare the information that you have, it's not while it's a slightly novel chemical compound, it is something that's maybe like it's not so exotic, let's say, that you couldn't find a way to reverse this. Indeed, there's plenty of information, rather plenty that would you have plenty of knowledge in terms of the physiology of the different species to know why they're responding the way they are and understanding counter agents that would likely be suitable for most of them with minimal sort of blowback. The difficulty here would be proper dispersal, although if life support is restored to function, then it's possible that you could indeed distribute this fairly quickly. It's at this point just manufacturing a sufficient sample that would be appropriate. Or sufficient.
I gesture toward the data for Vopri. Regrettably simple, but easily remedied. Wouldn't you agree?
So much havoc caused by such a simplistic chemical. I shall begin. I can begin collecting the reagents and start synthesis.
Good.
As he begin with that, Vopra is going to begin going to some of the other computer systems, and I will ask you to give me. I will tell
Control?
you. Yes, it will be a control and medicine task, and with the equipment you have on hand, I'm going to say that the sickbay. You think that you could act? I'll give you 2 options here. You can either take essentially a very. You could take a slightly easier task and essentially have it ready within within an amount of time that would probably lead to like have some combat happening elsewhere in the ship. Um, Possibly like a round or I'd say 3 rounds of combat is what I have down. You might be able to get something done quicker, however, at a higher difficulty, essentially synthesizing a more potent compound.
I think for Kresik, he doesn't. So this is where it gets interesting. Because I feel like taking extra time would somewhat conflict with one of his values.
Well, I will say for perspective, the simpler, less potent version of the counter agent could be manufactured with a difficulty 2 control and medicine task assisted by the ship. I would have to double the difficulty for the extremely difficult thing. I could go so far as to give you basically a sliding rule where you have from 2 to 4 in terms of the difficulty, and if you I can't go lower than 2, but I won't go higher than the 4, and essentially the more difficult the task, the shorter the combat will last, rather.
Fine, crewmates, what saith you?
Go for broke. That's my vote.
The quicker we can get off this planet, the better.
All right, we're going for the harder version. Can I buy 2 dice for this? For 3 momentum?
I don't have a problem with that. If it gets us off this rock, I'm good.
All right. And then the ship's going to be assisting, you said?
Either Vopri can assist you with, I'd say, his reason and medicine, or the ship can assist you with their, let's see, I would definitely say medicine, and I think computers would be at work because it's the ship's equipment is handling the processing of whatever it is.
Yeah. I honestly trust Vopri more than I trust this ship.
Probably not a bad idea
Okay.
at this point.
Now, we will go ahead and roll this, but I'm going to say, for the audience here, we are going to leave you in a bit of suspense, as they cannot actually see the rolls here. So,
what's my complication range? Is it just 1?
It is indeed 1. I have no threat that I can use for the moment.
All right. Rolling 4 dice. Focus is applied.
Okay. And Vopri will assist.
No, he will not.
Oh, no. All right.
All right. So, I also have cautious, so I'm just going to re-roll one of those dice real quick.
Okay. All right. So the dice have been cast, and we will follow that very shortly. As you set to work on preparing the canister and manufacturing the compound, you feel the urgency of the struggle that is to come, and averting as much bloodshed as possible. And that is perhaps the feeling that you feel perhaps in that one evening back on Gornar. There's been much celebration, of course, since since the latest degree of successes on your project, and the applications have been rather interesting, shall we say. But in particular, there's it was a troubling part of that night with Ganthar that your mind momentarily goes back to as we set the scene for what you're otherwise doing. I would say, tell me, outside of your lab, what do you think would have been? What would you have thought of Kresik's original residence back on the planet?
His original residence, he would have had he's moved a lot, actually, as his work has caught attention and traction among the military and other aspects. So I'd imagine his house at the moment, his residence, is rather large, but very sparsely furnished, because he's never really had time to do anything in one place before he gets something better assigned to him by the king or whoever it happens to be at that time. So it's a standard upper class house, but very, very empty.
So it is on a night where, in spite of the sparse furnishings, I'd say that there's probably a little more provided to you before circumstances came to that point. For there was, of course, need to celebrate some of the more recent decisions and more recent announcements that were being made as pertains to the project. You've taken some steps since those months ago when you finally managed to crack those genomic elements, and as more of those questions are answered, more troubling ones are yet to be asked, and such comes when you find yourself alone in one of overlooking a balcony. I would say that the local area in the district that you find yourself is much more, shall we say, savannah-like in a sense. A great degree of warmth, pleasantry, what have you, and things, elements of that nature. And yeah, just thoroughly. It would be a comfortable, I imagine, somewhat humid night probably. Uh, Again, something very much to your liking here. Um, you would hope in this moment that you might have some solace, some moments alone, or at the very least that if one were to break the silence, that it would be a Staff to join you. But the footsteps behind you are heavier and lumbering. They, of course, belong to the General.
General?
Resic. I feel we need not be so formal.
As you wish.
As General Granthar stretches to his full height, he's not necessarily, he actually probably comes in just slightly shorter than you, but his figure is quite stocky and quite, I would say he is very much the model Gorn soldier in a sense.
He's the very
Granthar.
model of the modern Gornish general.
Yes. Granthar. Then. What can I do for you?
Well, you can tell me for one that, yes, so far as the offer I am about to make. I understand that your project is about to come to a conclusion. But I think there is value in that work that you do and the breakthroughs we might yet accomplish.
And what is it you wish to accomplish?
He gives you as much, I would say, as close to a smile as that face is giving, which I imagine even as one used to, as a Gorn gentleman yourself, he is. There's something horrifying about it, but only insofar as there's the glee in his eyes at the notion. What you've given us, with what tools we have, our people have a way forward in this galaxy. One even faster than we could truly conceive.
I gave you soldiers. Wasn't that enough?
These are the beginning of soldiers, merely the first wave. But we could make them so much stronger, so much more capable, and far more inclined to do what needs be done. You
Kresic.
too can do what needs be done, Kresic.
Kresic, go ahead. Sorry.
The hegemony would value it greatly.
Kresic pauses. He looks back out, looks behind to his house, looks at the general. I will need to run simulations, tests. I will need to make sure this will all work. It will take time.
Time we may yet have there, Kresic. Just so long as you don't, so long as your answer doesn't keep me waiting too long.
It won't.
Very good. You and your wife have earned much favor in the hegemony. But I would not know how long that will last if you delay.
You can trust I will do what is best for the people of the hegemony.
There's a very low rumble behind you, a growl on that. It could just as easily be something to indicate that he is pleased, but there is also, of course, the notion of threat behind it, or force. Well, that shall do for now. I look forward to your work. And he will step back as you and leave you to that work for what time you have, as you understand very well what exactly you must do, and you find yourself readying the counter agent.
All right.
So, and we will get to the results of that in a moment as we arrive in the engineering pit, where, or rather, in the in the sub-level of the engineering pit. I believe that Tabak had elected not to go down and returned to repairing the ship, whilst Woe, Raldar, and Azek moved to take a step down and engage, go through one of the access ways to engage the Kusha.
And can Woe take a more obvious route, not just because she's way too big for the access ways, but also so that we're coming at them from both sides?
You could probably take the lift down as long as I unlock it.
Yes, I think I will do that.
All
Is that
right.
good with everybody else?
Yeah.
So with that, we can say that the arrival is slightly staggered, so that Woe, you have the first chance to arrive. We'll say that Raldar and Azek will hold back for a moment. You enter the reactor pit, where you discover that there are three of the Kusha, all armed either with sort of large, heavy bludgeons, bits of fragmented hull, rebar, something of that sort that is reasonable enough for them to wield. One of them, an older woman in the center, seems to be carrying Azek's dagger.
All right, I guess I'm gonna try and incapacitate them.
Okay.
Yay.
They see you enter and they are immediately they move to the ill-disciplined, alert stances that they have as you move in for the first one. So, who are you attacking, or rather, who are you moving to incapacitate first?
I'm gonna go for Knife Lady.
Okay. Just charging down the
and
center then.
yeah, and I'm gonna try and snap her wrist and get the knife out of her hands. Hopefully the pain will bring her to.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a daring and security roll. Difficulty of 1, but it is contested. And
Oh,
that is 0 successes there.
Jesus.
And that is 1 success from the woman who, as she comes in, as you move to charge at her, her reflexes are faster than you thought, such that she, as you close the distance, she gives just a absolute guttural scream and lashes out at your hand as you try to move in to break her wrist. She's actually going to land a cut on you, which that will score. Oof. That is actually 4 stress. Or wait, no, that is 5 stress because there is an effect there, and the dagger has vicious 1, so that is actually enough to injure you.
Oh.
Which an injury with a deadly weapon. Oh, that is technically a lethal injury. You can avoid that by using 2 momentum to buy it off, either that or using your determination.
Let's I don't want to buy off with momentum. Let's use
You
determination.
can, for 2 momentum, you can avoid the injury.
Yeah. That
No,
was
I think I'm gonna be injured.
I will warn you, a lethal injury not only means you are prone for the scene, but it also means if you do not receive medical treatment at the end, then you die.
Fine. I'll buy it off of 2 momentum. Only because I want to keep fighting.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, with the 2 momentum, I will say that rather than tracing the blade up to something that would actually cause you to bleed out and be in more serious danger, it is more just a cut kind of along a part of the wrist, missing any arteries or anything, but it damn well hurts.
Ugh! You bastard! Rolled a backhander, like as hard as a Xin can.
Oh no.
She's going to come at you again, and she will do you the service of closing the distance so that she can continue the melee, seeing that she's drawn blood. So this will be another control, or rather daring and security roll, base difficulty of 1, but still contested. And that is 2 successes for you to her 1, so you win that combat. That would, just to clarify, with the hard backhand, are you going for a lethal attack?
No, I just want to send her across the room.
Okay, well then go ahead and roll damage for that.
Okay.
So, unarmed strike, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep, and with that mean right hook of yours and the 2 effects there, so that is going to do 6 damage, or 6 points of stress to her, which is enough for a non-lethal injury that will knock her incapacitated, and knockdown would send her prone anyway. So she will slide right across the room, skidding right into the panel at the end and losing her hold on the knife.
Excellent.
We go unconscious too?
She does go unconscious. So I'll go ahead and mark her as such. But with that happening, the turn order actually goes to you guys next, and at this point, Raldar and Azek would be able to join the fray as well. So one of you two may now act if you wish.
Isaac, how was your bonky? Where are you shooting?
I'm gonna shoot.
Isaac, you want to give us a hand, mate?
I'll give you a hand. All right. I shoot to injure. I know we don't have any stun settings, but I'm assuming hitting somebody in the kneecap won't kill them too badly.
Yeah. They might be getting a prosthetic after that.
You lose an arm, and you lose an arm, and everybody's like,
Oh!
Yeah. I'll
gut shot
it.
wouldn't kill right away if it's indirect.
Okay. Which one's the bigger threat?
I mean, these are both very angry Kusha, who have identical stats, so you can either target this woman here or this dude here. They both have bludgeons, basically.
I will target the dude.
All right, so that will be a control and security roll with a difficulty of 2.
There you go.
That is 2 successes there. Your Disruptor Blast will hit true. Go ahead and roll damage for that Disruptor. Okay, and that is... Your non-lethal shot still does 6 points of damage, and that is with out of 7 possible challenge dice, 4 of those being 0, so you really are trying to, like, do as little damage as possible, but you've probably, like, singed a good bit of this man's torso and hip, basically. Disruptors are nasty weapons.
Yep.
But yes.
I tell him I yell, stand down, or you will befell more pain.
Yeah. He's going into shock at this point, so I don't know how much more pain he can actually deal with. But
Jesus, Isaac, take it easy.
The last Kusha will look among the two of you and or rather, look at the new arrivals, look to you, Woe, and just opt to charge straight for you, figuring that you are the closest target, and so maybe the best chance of dying with honor.
Oh, she's going for me. Okay.
Yep. So
Okay.
one final daring and security roll, please.
All right.
You have to beat a 1 here.
I'm just gonna try and catch her by the throat. So.
Okay.
Yep.
And with 2 successes, you manage to do exactly that.
I lift her up and give her a little shake and try and snap her out of it.
Oh dear, roll. I feel like you still need to roll unarmed strike damage just for, like, choking and, like, rattling her around there.
It's not that heavy duty. I'm not actually trying to choke her too hard.
9 stress disagrees.
Jesus! I overdid it a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
a smidge. Just
yeah.
a smidge.
You wind up not only doing that, but really the part where it gets excessive is where you decide to give her a light bonk against one of the bulkheads, and she goes just completely limp after that.
Oh, you people are built like sacks of potatoes. This was too easy. Oh, God, I am so sorry. I'm like trying to lift her dead little floppy body, like
Yeah.
dead weight. I'm like, come on now.
She's still alive, but she's definitely unconscious and probably concussed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Concussed is
Can
better
I
than
help
dead.
Krezik? I think Krezik needs to come fix these people.
It is at this point that the door begins to prop open behind you as some of the other Kusha have taken to some sort of jury rigging. I should note rather that they are trying to get out of the cargo bay and are coming through the now open way from the subdeck hatch. It is at this point, however, that as they begin to close in together and take a stance that would be more amenable to combat, they close ranks, they raise whatever they have, they start looking to you slightly puzzled. This you hear one of them say, "This is not the same ship." And from over on the floor, Gradal gonna whispers out, "What's going on?"
Oh, God. All right, so I think some people missed some announcements. God. You're all hallucinating.
The Kusha before you stop and look at their surroundings, and as the memory steadily comes back to them, or whatever struggle they had previously, it seems that they are coming out. All of you, I would say that, well, you are all wearing respirators, so the compound isn't necessarily directly getting to you yet, but it is a fair guess at this point that Kresik has, in the time that you were waiting to assemble and then finally went in for the time that the combat took place, it seems that his work might have come out a bit faster than you were expecting, or there must have been some fairly strong stuff. Which for the audience, I can now say Kresik indeed scored a 4 on that roll, and actually a 5 after cautious, so that was more than was needed. It actually, come to think of it, means that there should be another point of momentum in the pool.
I see.
Yes. I already dealt it for you.
How dare you?
Of course. Oh, but yes, with that, it seems that for the immediate crisis seems to be ending, although there's still some work left to be done for the life support. So we'll cut ahead a very short ways. Tabok, I imagine that you would want to take one more crack at making sure that the ship, the final bit of ship repairs, and particularly the life support, is relatively under control now.
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
Okay.
I just...
All right.
Sorry,
One.
roll 20 just crapped out on me. Give me a moment.
Oh dear.
Nope, it came back.
Excellent. So I will ask for one more difficulty 2 control and engineering roll. Well, I would allow for you to be assisted either by Raldar, Woe, or anyone else whom you might prefer.
I'll take Roldar helping out, and I'm also going to spend a momentum to give myself 3 dice.
Okay.
We believe in you.
Thank you. So
You got this.
The dice haven't been letting you down.
Not today, they haven't.
Yep, and with 3 successes, that is enough to get you back that momentum.
Ah.
No help from Raldar, but no complications at least. So yeah, that will be enough. Go ahead and give me. I appreciate the sentiment there, Isaac, but we're good. Anyway, Tabok, go ahead and give me another roll of your 7 challenge dice.
Blammo.
All right, that is 5 work on the track, which is going to be enough to complete the. Even after actually, let's see. Let me double check the last one. I believe we.
Isn't it?
Oh yeah, 6 work rather. But resisted by 2. However, those last 4 work actually complete the track, and because you have completed the work track, that actually constitutes another breakthrough. So, in the last bit of time that you run through, you are able to seal off other parts of the hull that were critically damaged, essentially closing off the non-essential bits and working with the pre-existing hull patches already in place and other like jury-rigged bits of armor that have been interspersed. You managed to complete the final repairs, and life support is
and close off all of the doors that have breaches or atmospheric leakage. Get the life support from going into there, and make sure the doors don't collapse when we hit vacuum.
Yes.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
And of course, lock all the doors that need to stay locked.
Yep. So, with a final bit of percussive maintenance somewhere, and I'm sure vigorous profanity, you manage to get the ship systems to cooperate. Some of your repairs will be the repairs that you need to do are by no means complete. There are other systems that will require more lengthy overhaul at a different port that you have yet to decide, but
yeah, I didn't do any jury rigs on this, so
yeah, this will at least get you out of Clock to Kelbrocht. So
yeah,
let me then go around the horn. I have at least one more scene in mind here, but I figure that I'd like to ask around if anybody has things that they would like to do before.
Yeah. I'd like a small scene with the captain.
Okay, so cutting ahead a few more hours. The rest of the Kusha have started to come to a little bit more. They've come to their senses as a very potent counter agent has made it through. The rest of you are starting to take it in, and I dare say feeling its effects hit on quite rapidly. Um, let's say this is while the work is being finished up, so Tabak, would you prefer to take this in engineering, or would you be elsewhere on the ship?
By this point, if we've got everything all fixed up, I'm gonna get myself a drink in the mess hall and sit my ass down for a couple of minutes because
You've been
I don't think I've
nonstop.
actually. Yeah, I've been nonstop for probably a good 30 hours by this point.
Indeed, indeed. So we will put you in the mess then.
And I'm still sore from getting stabbed by that idiot I had to kill.
Indeed, indeed. So we'll move you into the mess. Whoa, you drop by where
All right,
you catch Tabak on his own.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
All right,
all
I
yours.
show up with 2 drinks and plop myself down across from him in the chair, and say, "How you feeling?"
Exceedingly tired. And still
Yeah,
sore. I got stabbed a little.
yeah, yeah. I noticed you did look a little bit stabbed recently.
Yes.
Wasn't gonna say anything. I give him a little grin, and then I kind of get a more serious expression on my face and say, "Look, how I talked to you earlier was unprofessional, and I'm very sorry, Captain. Just do you ever feel like someone's following you around, judging everything you do, calling you shit the whole time?"
I can't say that I have. Although my grandsire was a drunken fool who would yell
I'm bit.
who would scream at anyone with very little provocation.
No, I meant internally, like in your head. She does like a little tap to the side of her temple.
No, I do not.
Well,
That is an enemy definitely worth the fight. And a
yeah.
dangerous foe at that.
When we were having our little hallucinations, our little rave party up there, it's just that got a little bit worse for me than normal. And whenever we were going to go down to the radiation pit, I didn't really know what we were. Not radiation, you know what I mean, Captain. She has not at all memorized what the fuck the ship's rooms are called. But she's like, I didn't know it was down there, but I just knew I had to fight something. But I also knew I didn't want anyone who could be easily hurt down there. And with you being injured and all, I didn't want you to get hurt anymore. And it kind of came out a little more aggressive than I meant. A little bit rude, to be honest. So I wanted to apologize.
Apologize. There is no need. You spoke what was in your heart. And I respected that. And I certainly,
Right.
at that point, I think I was around 20 hours at work with little food and still being slightly stabbed.
Yeah. I mean,
You spoke truth.
It doesn't help that you're one of the squishiest people here.
Never fear to speak truth to me.
All right.
I respect truth.
Please
above
get some
all
armor.
things.
Seriously, though, get armor. You're very squishy.
If I'm going to be needed to fight, I'm going to need to learn how to do it better.
Yeah, I think
family has
sleep and
taught
less
me
stab
well.
wounds.
My family taught me well. We have our own style, but I haven't practiced it for so long.
You need a practice partner?
If you could avoid killing me and potentially stabbing me further, yes.
No promises on that one. Apparently, I almost killed a woman today just trying to catch her. I sometimes don't know my head strength.
That is understood.
But
You are exceptionally large amongst a crew who are not.
I can always wear muscle weights, so I can't hit as hard. Or I'll just get
Yes,
really
go
fuck
ahead.
off
Add
strong.
more mass behind the punch. That sounds like a
Yeah.
brilliant plan. But yes, I could use a sparring partner to improve. But first, we're going to have to get someplace where I can finish fixing this blasted ship.
Yeah, it's not exactly up on the top of the old listy poo, but
We
once
left
things get
port
settled.
10 days before I was told we were leaving. We would have been in much better shape. I still don't think we could have taken on 3D. Were those D5s or D6s, GM?
The Korgwi is
D6s.
the D6, yes.
The D6s. Yeah, I don't think we could have taken on 3D6s in any way.
Oh, I know we
shape,
couldn't
or
have.
form.
We did it. We ran. We had to run.
There is no shame in that.
I never said there was. But in the meantime, I'm gonna hit the hay. You need to consider doing the same.
I will, as soon as I drink some more of my Capri blood wine.
A pre-blood wine. Thank God. Okay. With that, she stands and does like a little salute and heads out.
Okay. Elsewhere in the ship, cleaning up from the remains of the injuries and other mess created to resolve the crisis. Kressik, you find yourself at work assisting your Klingon patients. The damage honestly isn't as bad as it could have been, although there's ample neurological damage and considerable tissue damage in the case of the Klingon male.
So, mhm.
I dare say at this point, I presume that you'd probably be working on him with whatever bit of dermal regeneration tech they've got on hand.
Yeah, I'm pretty much finishing up with my patients at this point.
I am sorry, Doctor, if we caused any injury to any of you. We're still catching up on everything, but I do fear we may have hurt at least one member of the crew at some point. We shall extend appropriate apologies when we get the chance. Oh.
Apologies will not be necessary. We've all made mistakes in our past.
On behalf of my people, I would say Gretel looks to you weakly. Thank you. You have given us all a future. And as you tend to your patient, Doctor, the door to the medical bay opens, and the small Kusha girl walks in. Seeing you helping her father, she will slowly come to approach the bed, and she'll just stand by your side as you finish the work, unarmed and potentially on the predicted track.
And I hand her a scanner. I just jam a scanner in her hands and say, make sure this line stays constant.
And she'll look to it and give you a nod, and I'll help you finish up your work. And I think for tonight, that is how we will finish up our session. So I want to say thank you for everyone for watching our second adventure here. For those watching in the YouTube archive, this is where we're going to leave you. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and feel free to keep an eye on the channel. Leave some comments, let us know what you think, and we'll catch you later. But you all take care till then. Bye.